whatever they call it, HomePod Show, HomePod Hub, HomeHub, if Apple's developing a HomePod with a screen, it's just not going to make sense, because you can just buy an iPad. Let me talk you through this. Just around 3 weeks ago, the original HomePod was discontinued, and I talked about why that happened in a separate video, so do check it out. But in very simple terms, the discontinuation was all about the price. The winning formula for Apple is the HomePod Mini, because at least for an Apple product, it isn't too expensive. The HomePod Mini costs £99, which doesn't really sound all that cheap, but in contrast, before the original HomePod was discontinued, it was sold at £279, and that was after the price reduction. When the HomePod was released, it was sold at £319. I think it's clear how the HomePod Mini outsells the original HomePod so much, because it's just a more affordable digital assistant around the house, but it still provides a respectable music listening experience. But if Apple's just going to slap a screen onto the next HomePod, it seems like they haven't quite learned their lesson. I think the very first issue we can think about is that why do we need a screen for a digital assistant? For me, I think the simplicity and elegance of having a digital assistant in the house that you can summon verbally is all about the lightweight interaction. Being able to ask a digital assistant some simple questions like, do I need an umbrella today? Or to accomplish simple tasks like turning off all the lights or locking all the doors when I'm heading out. And that's it. I don't want to be distracted by my digital assistant from what I'm working on, what I'm doing. After asking about the time or the weather, I can be back to reading my book, writing my essay, making my breakfast. I don't even need to look away. I'm instantly back to doing what I was originally doing. With this in mind, adding a screen to a smart speaker can have an adverse effect. If you want to know about the weather, the assistant, no matter Alexa, Siri or Google Assistant, it's going to speak to you about the weather condition and temperature anyway. But having a screen on a smart speaker, you're almost obliged to pay visual attention to the screen, and that I see as a major distraction to your daily workflow. Of course, you can ignore the screen even if you happen to have a smart speaker with a screen, but then that goes back to the question, why have a screen in the first place? Of course, this major argument of mine is not going to stop companies from launching smart speakers with screens for the sake of a gimmick, something like the Amazon Echo Show and the Google Nest Hub. Now, I argue that this is just a gimmick because it seems to me that Amazon and Google are just scrambling for ways to rationalize having a touchscreen on a smart speaker. In the case of the Google Nest Hub, the screen is of course to visually display any information that you ask for with Google Assistant, but somehow Google has also added a camera, a front-facing camera, to the Google Nest Hub Max, so you can also do some video calling on it. And they've also added support for YouTube, Netflix and Disney Plus, so you can watch movies on these screens. But here's a weird thing, this is a smart speaker with a screen, or what Google call a smart display, and because it's always connected to power, there's literally zero portability, in the sense that you can only use that Google Nest Hub in one location. And if I'm just stuck at one spot, why don't I just watch movies on a TV with a screen possibly larger than 10 inches? If it's just a display of around 10 inches, it better be a bloody tablet so we can move to a sofa, to my bed, to the kitchen, or even when I'm having a bath. Being stuck with zero portability and just a 10-inch screen, it just do not add up for me. And here comes my second point. There is quite a strict limitation to what you can do with the screen on a Google Nest Hub. On an Android tablet or an Android phone, you can do so much with the apps on the Google Play Store. In contrast, you can't even freely browse the web on the Google Nest Hub. And if what Apple's developing is somewhat similar to what Amazon and Google are offering, then the screen on a smart speaker is not going to be worth it. Now, for the second issue, we're going back to the price. With Apple products, it's always about the price because their products are always on the expensive side. To put it in context, let's look at the HomePod Mini. It's £99, and in the Apple world of things, it's not the most expensive product in the world. But then a similar Google Nest Mini costs just £49, and it's just £34 with a promotion. And of course, Apple says that the audio quality of the HomePod Mini is better and whatnot, but then you can see that the HomePod Mini is almost 200% more expensive than its competitors. And we expect that to stand true as well with the HomePod with the screen. And just to remind you, the smart displays by Google and Amazon are not cheap either. The Google Nest Hub Max costs £189, $219 without promotion, and an Echo Show 10 costs $239.99. And with Apple being a premium brand all along, it's a no-brainer that we're expecting a HomePod with a screen to be at least around £250 range. And that is if we are lucky. Think about it, the discontinued full-size HomePod was £319 when it was first released, and that thing didn't even include a display. Who is to say that Apple won't charge someone approaching £400 for a smart display? And if you're paying for a smart display at that price point, you might as well just go for an iPad. The screen on an iPad, you can do way more than just asking Siri things or video calling, because you've got the App Store full of apps. You can watch movies other than just from YouTube, Netflix and Disney+, and the most important thing of all is not plugged into the wall all the time, so you can bring the iPad anywhere. An iPad, even the very basic one at £329, is a more all-rounded, a more versatile device than a smart display can ever be. And Apple, if you're thinking of making a smart display, a HomePod with a screen, a HomeHub, a HomePod Show, just stop. Don't be fooled by Google and Amazon. I'm pretty sure that you've heard of this saying before, that copying is the best form of flattery. But that doesn't really mean copying others' ideas when in actuality you know that they are just unintelligent. Of course, a screen will have a colourful interface, it will be fancy, but to make technology really work for us, I think we need to retain that sense of simplicity. Because it's only by not letting technology become a form of distraction can we allow technology to not just work for us, but to work with us. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think about the rumours of a HomePod with a display? Maybe you've got an argument in support of an Apple Smart Display, and that's totally cool. Just leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. And of course, do remember to subscribe to the channel, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.